Welcome to Nature's Neighbor. I am your host, Melanie Blankenship, joined with my co-host, Josh Carmichael. And as if you can't see, we're on location once again at Nature's Touch. We're here behind the bar in the old wooden building. You know, some of you that know, I'm up in the little farm stand now up on the front on Main Street, but now we're back in because this is kind of feeling like home turf right here. So it's feeling good. So you see this new look and all this foliage and prettiness that Josh and I are surrounded by. And then you see this beautiful face that is joining us because if you see, it's olive harvesting time and it's olive talk right now. Josh, we're gonna get into some fun conversations of history and knowledge of growing, using, but also truly community. I cannot think of a crop in this community that actually invites more community together than growing olive trees, harvesting olives, and community press. So let's take it back a little bit and talk about the weather because, you know, we are on the last week of October. I cannot believe I say that. Halloween is coming up. You know, the true traditions of Halloween is, you know, everybody thinks that you're dressing up like, you know, ghosts and goblins, or, you know, certain people think it's a day to show off your inner female, but you know, I'm not into the cowboy boots and fishnet stockings. But anyway, so it's all about ghosts and goblins, right? But let's talk about what is Halloween. Halloween is all about this time of the year. If you look in the history of Halloween, it's all about the fermentations and the rotting processes of things. Because you got to remember, not everybody lives in California, guys, and we don't, you know, a lot of people are not walking around in shorts and flip-flops like you and I get to, you know. So, you know, their harvest came off earlier. Their harvest came off, you know, different. Things are starting to ferment and change. And Halloween became the time when people would get exposed to different molds and mildews and spores. And it was all about, it's all about the hallucinogenics. You know, now we call that microdosing. But, you know, but now it's like, it's different, right? But that is honestly, if you look back at the true meaning of Halloween, it was exposures to different things that were making you feel funny. And it was the colds and you were seeing different things, right?
Well, time of year to maybe like process the harvest. And so one way to make things last would be fermenting them or trying things out.
Right. So, you know, if I could put another declaration, because I'm always declaring things, but if I could put another declaration, instead of us candying out, you know, horrible candy that you need to go to the dentist for after, you know, the 31st. And I feel for teachers on, you know, that day after. Thank God it's on Friday this year. But, you know, all those kids dressing up and getting all that candy and going to school that next day, that's so mean. You know, like sending your sugar high kids to school. But, you know, at the same time, let's look at the histories of things and actually understand where this came from and what this holiday, if you call it a holiday, what does it really mean? It's about the harvest of things and about timing. And let's declare Halloween as a time of celebration of rot and fermentation, right? So there's this whole concept behind that. We'll get more into that as the seasons go on, and you know, there's a lot to that conversation that the Vintage Club and Exchange is coming to as well. It's another thing I have on the books of creating, and it's getting ready to launch. My goal is to launch it on November 1st, and have all the legalities. Hey, by the way, my fellow farmer friends, did you know it's illegal in this country to barter and trade seeds? So I'm going to put that out there and let you guys
know that.
Yeah, it's fun times when you're trying to legally launch an exchange group, right? So you got to find out the legalities. And I found out there's a lot to this that I'm going to teach and share. But yeah, we're going to dive into that one in a couple weeks. So let's talk about the excitement time of what it really is, and that is olive harvest time. Yep. I am excited to have Karen. Rick is, you know, the other half of Karen. He's not here, but, you know, when you talk about Olea Olive Farm, you're talking about a big family. You don't have to talk about it being a blood relations, a family. You're talking about Eve and Clotilde, who had an idea. And they ran with it, and they created something truly amazing, because it wasn't heard of at that time.
No.
You know, there wasn't olive orchards in
In
San
this
Luis
country or this area, yeah.
Not like this. Not, you know, it was, you know, the big old
An old
scrappy
world thing.
mission olives, or, you know, these species that, you know, people would just let it fall to the ground. The fruit would fall to the ground. And even Clotilde and a group of others got together and formed something magical many years ago that I get to say that I have been a part of since the fruition of it, the ideas of it. And then, you know, through the years, Clotilde and Eves, you know, made different business decisions, smart business decisions, needed to slow down and change their direction. And here came Karen and Rick, who bought Olea Olive. Karen, when did you guys buy Olea?
2017.
2017. And so it became that adoption of more family, right? Yes, they purchased something very well established and a very well honored name in this community, but they've taken it and carried it on to even something much more. Because during the time of the creation of Olea Olive Oil Farm, Clotilde and Eves did not just sit back and go, oh, I'm going to, you know, invest in a local mill to press my olives, or, you know, I'm just going to be an olive tree grower. They didn't do that. What did they do? They sat back, piece by piece, screw by screw, nail by nail, and created a mobile mill,
Yes.
which is called Mill on Wheels, which Karen and I get to enjoy so much.
We're so lucky.
We are so lucky.
So
It is
lucky.
a mill that comes to you. You harvest over a ton. That mill will come directly to your farm. Mind you, there's some details. It's not drop the ball and go, oops, I got to harvest, call them up. Nope, you got to get things in order before this happens.
Right.
But anybody that is harvesting over a ton, the mill gets to come. So Karen, introduce yourself to our listeners, as well as give your side of you know, your enticement in what you guys have created with Olea Olive Oil.
Well, olives definitely hold a special place.
Go a little closer so they can hear you. We
sorry.
can hear you, but it's good. Yeah.
I didn't want to just yell.
That's okay. Go for it.
Anyway, olives hold a very special place in our heart and always will. Thanks to Eve and Clotilde and what they started with Olea Farm. Yes, you're correct. The crop of olive oil production really was not a commodity of California. There were a few old families that are still in business, generational, up north, and it's crazy because the olives grow everywhere that the grapes grow, and they love
Yeah.
it, right?
Mediterranean climate, so they
Absolutely,
came from that
absolutely.
region.
So we were very blessed that Eve and Clotilde, with their brilliant minds, literally brilliant minds, came up with Mobile Mill. So that's kind of how our take started in this industry. I absolutely love this industry. I love all the people in this industry, people that lifelong friends and family. And we started not knowing anything. I have an agriculture background. Rick, not so much. He was in the electrical union up in San Jose for years and years and years, and that's what he did: build hospitals and build power plants. So we thought we would start on this journey of this beautiful little crop.
See, I knew he was like he had the electrician background, but I didn't know it was to that extent. But that
Yeah.
makes more sense
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
But you do know that when I die and come back in my second life, I'm going to become an electrician and a refrigeration repair person. So I might be a farmer now, but I'm going to die and come back as Rick.
You're not gonna be a farmer again.
I want that mine. I want to know how to fix my own equipment.
Yeah,
But
I get
yes,
you there.
Yes, admire Rick for that one.
Yeah,
even
yeah.
more.
So the olive tree, like I said, holds a really special place in a lot of people's hearts and homes. It's a very soulful crop. I feel that down deep into my bones. I never thought I'd feel that way about a tree. But you'll find me out in the orchard just walking at times, not just checking irrigation, but checking my mind, checking my spirit, checking everything that we have. But this is a very exciting time of year for us. Right after the grapes, we start right with the olives. You won't get anybody on your property to harvest until the grapes are done.
We know that.
But now we're here. And so we always do our harvest the first Saturday in November, always, with that beautiful mobile mill and even Clotilde every year. wouldn't be the same without them. And this coming Saturday, November 1st, that's when we're going to be open to the public. Everyone can come up and see that amazing machine, meet all of us, have some snacks. We always have our olive oil cake, always do our olive leaf tea, which is an amazing,
It's very good.
amazing product all in itself for health benefits and ease of making it. But the olive has so many health benefits that a lot of people really don't realize.
Want to
Tell-
share? Could share?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Antioxidants, polyphenols, heart healthy antioxidant fighting properties. There's just, it goes on and on, not to mention that it's so flavorful. I mean, when we were talking earlier about Eve and Clotilde and their niece, who you know, Julie Simon, who is an amazing chef in this area. I have tasted some of the most amazing dishes that she's created. And really learned a lot about cooking with olive oil. If you're not aware of different varieties and extra virgin olive oil and fresh press, and you're just used to store-bought olive oil, it's a whole new world out there. And again, if everyone wants to come up next Saturday, you'll get the coveted Olio Nuovo, which is the very first press. It's always very robust and green. And it's a treat.
amazing.
It's a treat. We only
Yeah.
get it once a year.
Yeah,
Yep.
those are great, like the unfiltered first presses.
Oh,
I've seen
there's-
that from, other parts of the world.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, it is something I think that is part of our lives more and more, especially as people, have started to become healthier and realize, that this is something that they're probably using either in their health and beauty.
Right.
Because it's great for
Right.
the skin, but also so great for the health for eating it. And so, yeah, just such a beautiful plant and known for peace. I mean, it's just got, quite the history. So really glad to see it in our backyard and something that, we can take part in more.
Sure.
Really
And
like to
these
see
trees that everybody has planted in our county and all over California, and actually there's other states, that are growing. Texas, Georgia, on the island of Hawaii and
I know,
Maui.
I saw that.
I think Florida's trying to give it a shot. Definitely Oregon. They're right in there too, and they're doing a great job.
Yeah, they do so well from the warm from the coast, to that colder climates like we have here up north. So.
The excitement part of the olive is that we have identified so many different species. And that is, again, where, people at Nature's Touch come in. I like to just carry 3 of them, just so that I don't make it so confusing, right? So I
Sure.
do the European, which is a blend of different olives, Arbequina, and then the Crescendo is what I carry. But what you have in front of you here are trees that I bought from Eve and Clotilde. I think it was right in the transition of you guys buying and selling. These are Corniki. These
Oh.
are my Corniki trees. And why did I grow Corniki? I'm a little bit more coastal, so I'm not so hot and I'm not so cold. Corniki is a Greek olive. I'll be honest with you, when you press this one, it tastes like butter. It's like there's something about
Good
the
fat content, yeah.
Corniki. It's not a big olive. It's little, and
Little.
it's little but mighty.
Concentrated.
But it's not. I'll be honest with you. It's not a big harvester. It's not. We aren't getting huge amounts of crops. But I use it for the amount of cured olives I have been doing with ours, and they're perfect size for that. And I'm just grateful. I don't have to worry about the harvest, so to say, and push it a little harder because I got friends that do it all really good. What I wanted to do is just have the diversity of the trees on our ranch. And it's funny because, the beauty of watching these things grow. I planted plug trays.
Okay.
And now these are, 10 feet tall
Yeah.
and full and beautiful. And they're so giving. Olive trees are very giving. Yes, it's the peace plant. It is. I love what you said that because I forgot about that. But they're very giving.
Giving and forgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Very much
don't
so.
need a
Too
lot.
big of a haircut? That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
they love poor rocky soils and they're very
Yeah.
drought tolerant,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
easy to
Yeah.
grow that way.
And it's funny because when Karen and I first started talking right now before the show, I'm like, it's looking like it's going to be a good harvest this year. She's
Yes.
like, yeah. She's all, and we even gave a heavy pruning, and it's still giving.
I
And
know.
they're just, it's something about these trees that just is constant. And then somebody like me who is always avid about health, always starting it in the soil and health, and then following it all the way through to my own body. I cannot emphasize enough on how wonderful and perfect this place is to me, because where else in the world can we grow the food that we have and now have the equipment to be able to harvest and mill the food and the medicine that we all know you can't get this anywhere else.
No,
Like,
no.
I try to explain to people, if you can't get to Karen's at the farm, you're going to get the full experience. You're going to get the olive trees. You're going to get locals, just hanging out there and enjoying. Are you guys going to make French fries?
Famous French fries.
Famous French fries.
Yeah.
You're gonna get the French fries, right? Fried in olive oil, because you can do high heat, but
You can.
you don't have to, because it's also olive juice. But you're gonna get that knowledge complete of all of that with it if you go there. Now on November 15th,
Yes.
which is 2 weeks after, guys, because I'll be honest, I messed up on the day because I didn't realize that the first was a Saturday. We always normally do it the second Saturday, but this year we're going to do it on the third Saturday of November, is we're at Nature's Touch, where you harvest under a ton, and the mill can't come to you, but you can come to Nature's Touch. You bring us all of your harvest. You said it a minute ago, you're gonna comb. You need to go to Farm Supply, and you're gonna need to get an olive rake,
Yes.
and you're gonna comb your trees, and you're gonna harvest the fruit off of the trees. And then you're going to bring it all to Nature's Touch, whether it's in buckets, bins, baskets, boxes. What we've seen,
Anything.
the back of trucks. I've seen it all. And you're going to bring your harvest to us here, and then we're going to run it through the mill.
Right.
But let's talk about the important things.
Yes.
Because you're going to bring us your community press, and we're going to do a community event for you here at Nature's Touch on the corner of 3rd and Main in downtown Templeton. But the problem is, guys, one, there's not many, but there is problem.
Isn't, but there is.
Fruit fly
Yes.
and fruit fly damage.
Yes.
You need to make sure that you inspect your plants before you harvest and bring them to us. First of all, we don't want to promote people traveling with that, but also, too, we also don't want you to get all the way here excited about your harvest, and we have to turn you away because we cannot run fruit fly damaged fruit through our mill because it damages the press.
Right.
So you can't just bring your fruit. You got to know the basics. And Josh
It's very
and I,
visible. You can see the scarring. It's not,
yes,
the
you
fruit
can.
is usually beautiful and,
Yes.
and just fresh and
I know.
colorful. And it's very scarred if it's
One of the
Scars.
saddest things, too. when
yes,
I've-
inconsistent
Deformed.
coloring.
Yeah.
You've seen them, too.
Yeah.
They bring in this gorgeous fruit, and then you look at it, and you're like, oh, I got to tell them that.
Well,
Yeah.
you and I are
Right.
like that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We're like, oh, hold on. And then we go get
Oh,
Clotilde.
Clotilde.
And you and I both go, what? We're running. We're out of here. Clotilde's going to tell them they can't press. And just-
How dare you
Karen and
bring
I
that.
run. What did you call us before? Like, I'm like,
Yes,
"Whoop."
yes.
So this is why we cannot emphasize enough that you need to inspect your harvest before you bring it to us.
Yes.
There's been some dips in temperature, frost, not much. We've have enough moisture in the soil around that should not have any frost damage. There was one year that people came in with a lot of frost damage, but we shouldn't see that this year that much. But bring us all, just, comb it, harvest however you can. Bring us your harvest. You don't have to wash your fruit because the mill does that for you. But it's 8 o'clock for us, November 15th. First come, first serve. And come with patience. Come with excitement because you're going to be hanging out with others that are doing the same thing that you are. Come with the ability to learn. Come to the ability of sharing because that's what we're all about. We're about gathering a community because honestly, I wouldn't know what I've known if it wasn't for the community. You were in the same place. You're in
Sure,
the same place.
100%.
Like we sit here and talk about the knowledge that we have, but we cannot sit here and not say the reason why is because we're out in the community, we're doing things, we're participating in things and learning from the people that their hands are in the soil.
Sure.
So that is where it's super exciting. So November 1st at Karen's, I have a couple of, we have a rummage sale going on here at Nature's Touch as well as Founders Day. As soon as I got that set up, I'll be hanging out and celebrating their harvest.
I hope so.
And on November 1st, because it's for me, it's not even just a business thing. For me, the feeling that you get when you drive onto that farm and what Clotilde and Eves have created, but what you guys have transformed and carried on is magical. And then having so many people that enjoy just being there. They don't have olives, but they're just wanting to be there and celebrate your harvest speaks volumes of who you guys are, but also the crop and what we're the crop and what we're celebrating.
It brings everyone together.
It does. And then it's like people, talk about for us, we're a small press. I'm like, it's the weirdest day for us because it's, you get either a whole bunch or you don't, you just don't know, right? You don't, because it's open to the public. It's first come, first serve, harvest your fruit, harvest as close as you can to getting it into that mill, right? So if you're going to do an all-nighter and come to us that next morning at 8, all the power to you. But at the same time, it's how can I be so tired and one day, but be so rewarded at the same time? Because it is.
That's the truth, though. Seriously, when you even look at these grape growers and the vineyards, and I mean, we see them all day, up and down Templeton Road.
There's
up
huge
and
trucks
down.
on the back roads
Oh,
in
my God.
Adelaide the
And
other day. Just
and we're
full.
lucky with this crop that when it's time, okay, it's time, we'll pick tomorrow, we'll pick in a couple days. Grapes, on the other hand, if it's time, you're working all night, you're pulling an all-nighter. And so, again, a very forgiving crop, right?
It's a difference between when you're trying to go for oil versus juice, right? Even though this is an olive
Technically,
juice,
yes.
technically it is. But when you leave things on, it's weather permitting, it's exposure to the soil, it's irrigation or moisture. You don't want your fruit to contain a bunch of water.
No.
You want a drier fruit because you want to be able to press it for oil. And so, people sit there and think that, the bigger the fruit, the more the oil. And that's not the case
Not at all.
with olives. I learned that with the Korniki. I'm like, how is it so small and you get such a beautiful harvest from it? But it's because it's the oil content of it. And then being on the drier side, you got to irrigate olives. If you're wanting a good harvest, you have to be consistent and you have to read your soil. The soil is going to tell you what that tree needs.
Absolutely.
And so it's not a lot of water, but it's not dry farmed. And dry farmed could possibly be if you water deep enough earlier in the season versus later in the season.
We have some dry farmers in this area for olives.
Yeah, no, and their
Yep.
harvest is beautiful
Yep.
too. But I think it's soil terrain, like where it's actually at. It's how they prune them,
Yeah.
and it's also I know a couple of them too. They know their soil. They know how to read it. They know they know what it smells like. They know what the texture of it. So dry farming is important, and I want to teach people more of it because people think dry farming is just turn off the irrigation. It's not. Yes, you might not have irrigation to turn on,
right.
but you have to farm your soil
Sure.
in order to have dry farmed.
Right. And with the olive trees, they're very, we talked about giving and forgiving, but we shut our trees off in October, right? And, maybe mid-October. And again, you have to read your soil. You have to check and see what your soil's like. But we shut them off, and then they don't come back on again until
June?
March,
Oh.
maybe March or April. They come on when we start to flower. Sorry,
There you go.
Right? So when we see that starting to happen, that's when we'll start giving them, a little bit of water. But you have to realize that's almost 6 months that they don't even need water.
That's
It's
awesome.
it's an awesome crop.
So
right?
Karen, what species of olives are on the Olea?
Olea is Korniki and Arbequina.
Okay. Talk to me about how many different growers grow with you to provide you Olea's olive oil.
So there's about 6 different growers that we utilize on top of our own. Arbequina being probably the most grown varietal in California. I think that's the little guy that started it all.
Yep.
And continues to be. I have a lot of people coming over from Europe and setting up huge, grows here. And that's because we have such amazing growing capabilities in our state. And the olives love it. They absolutely love it here. So, but we work very closely with those growers. We make sure that we're aligned in how we grow sustainably, no chemicals and no pesticides. Of course, we have a little fruit fly, but we have organic ways of handling that. as
GF
well.
120. How many times have I said that today? GF 120. GF 120.
120.
It's a pheromone that attracts the female, it kills the female, so that she doesn't continue to be able to lay, right? And that's what That's the fruit fly, and the fruit fly damage is when you get the female, a breeded female, she wants to lay her eggs in the fruit. And then as the egg matures, it rots from the inside out. So that's why you're going to see inconsistencies and ripening of the fruit. And that's the damage. So you want to do away with, the fruit fly so that doesn't damage your fruit. This is also the other reason why Clotilde and Eves were avid about doing a community press, because, not everybody's going to have that big harvest. And this is truly a support of small farmers. The way that Clotilde and Eves set up this mobile press was you could not get a more highly promoted small farm equipment than theirs. So with that, it's understanding, if you bring us a little bit here and a little bit there, and we can all press it together, and the magic of what we can all do together, and what we're doing.
That little mill, puts out, you can do 2 ton an hour, which is really good for that little guy.
It's so amazing.
Yeah.
I cannot emphasize enough. If you have the ability to either November 1st with Karen or November 15th, even if you're not an olive grower, you need to come and experience this ability to see the process, because once you see it, then you understand where I'm coming from. That was screw by screw, nail by nail, piece by piece. I remember the one time I was talking to Clotilde, and they were on their way to San Pedro, I think, or Long Beach. And I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, we have to go pick up a metal piece. Like, how to get it, one tiny little piece of metal that they couldn't get anywhere in the United States that would help complete the mobile press. This was before it was ever in operation. And I'm like, oh my God. And literally, piece by piece is what that, that mill has created. But the excitement about the mill also, too. It's not, there's so much to this. And this is why I love sharing this, is the people that help build the orchards, the people that help build the mill, are also the same people that are carrying on the mill. Okay, there is nobody better than Pepe and his dad, Jose. And I giggle because I remember when he was young, and now Pepe was he was running around with his dad, helping, getting everything together. And then now Pepe's, I'll never forget when I'm like, so Pepe, you gonna run this thing? Nope, I'm gonna be an accountant. And then Jose's standing behind me going, and I'm like, okay, I figured it. He's gonna be your accountant. He goes, oh, let's hope. So that that is, again, there's so many intricate stories and parts to the whole development and creation of all of this. And look at us, it just warms my heart for how many years and how much excitement of this one harvest does. But it's been many years of community to be able to make this happen.
100%.
So with that, let's get into a little bit more about Olea, because we can sit here and we can talk olives all day, which is important, but there's also, most people walk in, and I want, again, inviting you to come to either one, November 1st or November 15th, because you need to smell it. You need to stand at the end of the mill when the olives get dumped in there. You can go to my social media, Nature's Touch Nursery and Harvest, and you can scroll back and you can see I have video of how this whole operation goes. But the fun part about all of this is there's nothing better than that smell. When that first press starts happening. And then Eves is probably one of the best teachers. And, I'm looking forward to my yearly dose of harassment, because I can't.
We all are.
We all are, we don't get them all the time. There are 6 months here and 6 months in France. So we don't get, so I look forward to my daily doses of picking on when Eves is here. So, but the amount of knowledge that man has, and to be able to stick a little cup under that press that's coming in that fresh olive oil and getting to sample something you will never get anywhere else in the world, and to have that. So, but everybody talks olive oil, but the fun thing about Olea is the fact that they've not only conquered the quality, the consistency, and the reliability of the product. There's multiple other products that come along with Olea. So Karen, share with us some more about the products.
Well, of course, the end-all be-all for Olea was where it started with Little Olive, and through the years, Olea has grown has just grown. It's this little mighty farm that started out teeny tiny and has just grown to be, a force in this industry as far as locally. And we have some amazing growers in this area of olive oil. And I always tell everyone too, it's like, you don't have to buy it from us, but you really have to buy local California olive oil. It's like everybody's is good, and that's what I love about this industry is everybody helps promote everybody and everybody backs everybody. And if a part breaks on the mill, they'll call even Clotilde or vice versa, and whoever has that part will get it right to them. I mean, you just don't find that in an industry like
awesome.
in an industry like
And you're
that.
getting a really good pure product
getting
where
it.
you don't know what's happening
That's
in the
right.
world markets anymore. There's
No.
so many things that people
So many things.
do to olive oil or,
Yes.
or honey or things that
100%.
are
Yeah.
not good for us.
Yeah.
UC Davis, every time they do a test on olive oil, it never, like imported olive oil, it never tests pure. There's, and it's,
Yeah.
in
Well,
it,
especially if you get blended ones that are
Sure.
from all over the world.
It has gotten
Who
significantly
knows
better
what that inventory has been through.
through the years of that very first study coming out, and everyone was
Yeah.
kind of like, well, but it's gotten significantly better.
Yeah.
And I think the farmers are wanting to do better and better
Yeah.
and better every year.
Well, yeah, their product's
Sure.
not their fault, really.
Right.
It's where that product's ending up.
And we learn new things
Yeah.
every year. Technology gives us different things to do that can better our crops and better our milling processes and all that. So if you're open to learning, which I think even if you're the top rung, you should always have an open heart to learn and an
Yeah.
open mind to learn.
Well, the climate's
because-
always changing. Your inputs are always
Sure.
changing, so it's not something you could just really sit on
Right.
without. Farming's not that passive of a.
No, and that's what I love about most of the growers in
activity.
this area. That it is a big family. It is a big family. It's not a one against another or vice versa. So,
Yeah.
and we all grow different varietals, and so
Yeah.
that's just, when you come up to Olea Farm, you can taste 9 different varieties that we have. Some are blends, some are mono varietals, and people always say when they come up to the ranch, I didn't know that there were so many different flavors
Yeah.
in this little olive.
Yeah, and you guys are mostly doing oils and not like curing fruits or doing much.
No, we use Labella, who does pretty much
Yeah.
all of our local fruit,
Olives.
Yeah.
olive curing
In a jar.
In
Yeah.
a jar. And I would love to, but I do not have time. to do
Yeah,
that.
no, everyone has their.
how about the fact I
niche.
love to brine my
Yes.
olives?
Yes.
Yeah, salt cure or.
How about try to find real kosher salt right now? It is
Yeah,
crazy
is it?
how hard it is to find kosher salt. And because you want especially with the smaller fruit, you want not as coarse of grind, but you don't want a fine grind.
Right.
So, and then I'm that person that I don't want just imported scary stuff. I want real salt.
wanna know
right?
where it's coming from,
I want to
right?
know where it's coming from. But it's even in the other world, it's hard to get brine salt to be able to use for actual really good curing. And then what I do a lot of the times is I will take last year's olive oil, right? So Karen knows this because I'm like, I need old olive oil. And she's like, okay. She brings them to me in there because I make soap. And so I use all of our last year's honey that we
Yeah.
harvest off of our farm, their last year's olive oil or your 2 years olive oil to make our soap, and then I use our tallow, our beef tallow that we raise, and I make tallow soaps from it. But a lot of times I'll use the last year's olive oil after I brine my olives, and it's funny because the first time Clotilde gave me a recipe, she's like, a pillow. I'm like, you want a pillowcase? And she's like, perfect.
Yes.
I'm like, okay. Seriously.
Yeah.
Clean your fruit.
Yeah.
Put them in there. Sprinkle the salt in there. Shake it. Rub it around and hang it.
Let it breathe. Yeah.
And let it breathe. And so, cotton. So it was so funny because I'm like, a pillowcase? And people, when I give
What's
people
the
that
word?
recipe.
Yeah, it's hard when you switch languages to know the.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay. And so I still do that. I still use
So
her
you do the salted.
I do salted, and
Like
then
the
I'll put
Olivesca, just like all cured with salt.
That's all I do for that.
Yeah, I
and
love
then
those.
once they're
Yummy.
cured,
Yeah.
what I don't eat, I then will put in a mason jar with last year's olive
Sure.
oil.
Okay.
And then I'll put stuff them in there, and then that's where I will get like my rosemary sprigs or my thyme sprigs or my
Season,
sage.
yeah.
Yeah, my sage. My edible herb. Harvest, clean them. and then I just stick them and let them steep in that olive oil and the brine salt olives, and then I put them in my pantry. We eat them for
Throughout
because
the year?
because that olive oil will kind of encapsulate it there, right?
Yeah. Cure it
Where
and keep
I
it.
can get a different flavor and different things, but it's super simple. That's all I do, and that's where all there's no fruit. That's where those fruit went to. So
You've already picked?
yeah, a little bit, just because it
Yeah.
was the weather when it rained
Yeah.
and when it changed. I took some harvest just because I thought it might freeze, and so they're not as meaty as the ones that I've left, but they're still good. And so, but yeah, no, it's that's what I've been doing with mine, and half the time I'm giving it away to family and friends before it even makes it to Nature's Touch and being sold. Because I don't get that big of a harvest yet.
Yeah.
But now that my trees are really good and pruned, and the next couple of years are definitely gonna be different for me because I see, there's nothing beautiful mine don't bloom until the end of April. So I see, and I'm later too than that. And then, by June I'm constantly watching.
Sure.
Because that's when the fruit fly starts, people. And this
Yep,
is when
it
it's
does.
not just, oops, I want to go to small press. It's you got to kind of look at it before. Remember, I was talking about this in June. Like, hey guys, if you want to do small press in November, you got to start checking your fruit.
Yep.
Because it's
Yeah.
not of like there's nothing in the world to get out of free jail card thing with fruit fly.
Nope. Once it's
So-
in, you're done.
And if you have any questions or unaware, unsure of it, you guys can reach out to me. This last week has been, I've only had 5 phone calls today about it. And then, of course, I'm getting tons of people now. Are we doing small press?
Yeah.
Yes, we are doing small press. You can go view and visit with Karen on the 1st. I'm the 15th to actually get your olives pressed.
We've
So-
even had people coming up, year after year, but they'll come up like this week, next week. They'll bring, a cup full of their fruit to say,
What do
is
I
this
do?
okay? What do I do? What is this pass or what's this little thing? And I encourage everyone, just feel free to come up to the ranch.
Bring it in
Saturdays
a
and Sundays.
Ziploc bag.
Yes, bring it in a Ziploc
Yes,
bag.
yes. Bring your fruit in a Ziploc bag. Yes, you can leave it on the branch, but maybe leave it in the car. Let us come out to the car and see it there. But
Yeah, I don't want to spread what you
no,
might have.
and the
Really.
biggest thing is, guys, for like me at Nature's Touch, bring me
Yeah.
a Ziploc bag, your name and your phone number. If you have multiple different trees that you're bringing me, make sure to identify each one of those bags because I love when I get like 10 bags. And I'm like, okay, well, they all say John. Does John remember what tree he harvested
Yeah,
these
this
from?
tree's good,
Arvestina?
this tree's bad. He's
Is
not
that your
gonna know.
Parniki? Is that your Arvestina?
Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
and again,
Yeah.
I can kind of tell just by like a small shape of the fruit, but I'll be honest with you, none of us are really good, Clotillas,
Yeah.
at identifying the true species of the olive.
The varietal of each
Yes,
one.
all of us have to send ours away to have them analyzed to guarantee what species they are. So really, really important to know where you're buying your olive trees from to make sure that the nurseries are properly identifying them, as well as, for me in harvesting, and you wanted me to identify where that fruit, maybe this tree might have it, but the other trees don't have it. It's really important to make sure that we keep things identified and clear.
Absolutely.
So you're more than welcome to drop stuff by at Nature's Touch, and I will identify and give you a call. Or I'm usually at the store Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, just to let people know. I'm in Creston at Creston Valley Meats during the other days. That's where I'm running in today. So living life is in the fast lane always. But this is why, guys. This is why I live life in the fast lane, because if I don't keep up, there's a lot to miss, and I don't want to miss anything
I know.
because it's so much fun.
Right.
I get sad when small press starts to end and we're wrapping up, because it's like, there it is. There's the end of the time that I got to spend with Clotilde and Eves, right?
Right.
But then I'm like,
Us
it's
too.
so, yeah, I know.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
all of us, because
Yeah.
it's like they're done harvesting and then they're off to, live their other part of their life. But at the same time, it's like there's nothing more exciting than seeing that mail come in on Friday afternoon, right before the Saturday, and go, we did it again.
Yeah.
And for all of us who are farmers, like that, it's in us. It's just that weird. You do everything in your being to make this happen, but there's so many things that continuously happen and throw us wrenches, or water, soil, regulation, whatever, people,
Regulation.
but at the same time,
Yeah.
when you got the harvest in sight, that's, then
Time to celebrate.
then it's the time to
It's hard.
celebrate.
I remember the first couple of years we'd pull all the fruit off and they'd be in bins. And it's just beautiful. I mean, bin after bin, big, green, gorgeous fruit. And you kind of get a little sad, kind of like, okay, I just busted it all year to make, this grow and give it the best environment that we can. And I'm going to kill them. It's like sending them to the crusher.
Yep.
But I remember, I think I looked at Clotilde one year and I said, well, I looked at the fruit and I said, see you on the other side, right?
Yep.
And they went through.
It's going in my belly.
It's going in, yeah. So went
Yeah.
through and it came out as just, like everyone calls it liquid gold. And that's exactly what it is.
I was just going to say
Yeah.
that, being
Yeah.
a chef, I really just look forward to
Yeah.
that, component of it and appreciate it,
Yeah.
filling that bottle and
Sure.
having that available. And so it's really great for people to, I think, always be part of the process
Sure.
or where their food comes from and really what a transformation it's taking,
Yeah.
from whole fruit to, an oil. And there's not a lot of things we
Nothing
use
more
oil
beautiful.
from. So, it is a unique process that, people don't always you get to see a lot of. So.
And there's so much talk about health and oils and everything. And again, it's just one of those things. It's like you don't have to worry if you are anywhere around here or you can get here because there's nothing more pure than what these guys are doing. And it's like, we have it. It's like, people come in and want to talk about, the health of this. I'm like, yeah, I don't even worry about that. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, I don't have to. And
Exactly,
And it's
huh?
and I'm not that person that's like, the wealth is unlimited, right? It's honoring and managing it. Yes, to be able to. I'd rather pay it to you to give me good health than to give it to my health insurance or my doctors, right? Like,
Well, your investment's coming back to you because
Right.
you're going
And
to
it
get something
does.
that's really good
Right.
for you or really well done.
Right.
And so you don't even, like you said, have to worry about that. And I know that comes up through customers. We had a whole talk that way, but it's like, sort of that peace of mind that you get when you are investing or buying something that is,
Yep.
a good source.
Yep.
And so that is, something that I say money can't buy, but something that, it does
And again, I think
help feel
farmers, even
secure.
like you and us, we pride ourselves on that, right? Because I know in my heart of hearts, that's what I'm giving you as
Taking
my customer,
care of people,
right?
yeah.
You do not have to worry when you purchase anything from Olea Farm or Nature's Touch. I mean, all that work's been done for you.
Yeah.
All right.
we work hard to
right.
to understand. I mean, I told a new customer this the other day. So the concept of my store, she asked me, she's like, oh my gosh, it's so much fun in here. And she's like, what's your concept? Like, I'm like, well, the concept is I want to be able to eat food I don't have to fear.
Right.
So I just put it on my own shelf so I could just grab it and go, okay, good. I don't have
You're
to fear
covered.
it. I'm
Yeah.
good. Like, and she's like, oh, I love this idea. I'm like, no, it's not even, it wasn't a major business plan. It was literally knowing that certain foods did not make me feel well. And then how can I have a little bit of this and I could feel 100% better? For instance, my family, there is nothing better than a hot summer night going, what is the ultimate question in any family's daily thoughts? What's for dinner, right?
Sure.
What's for dinner all the time. And it is when it's hot and all of us are tired and don't want to do anything, heirloom tomato, mozzarella cheese, basil, fresh onion, fresh shallot, that kind of thing, or chives. Chop it all up, toss it with European olive oil or crescendo, and a drizzle of Olea's blackberry balsamic vinegar.
Oh, yeah.
And then at the end, when the last person came in for the last scoop of that salad, you then drink the bowl.
Exactly.
There's nothing
I know.
better.
Or bread dipping in it.
And
I
bread,
know. It's
double
crazy.
bread, but
Yep.
it's like that quick fast food thing, It's like that literally.
That is
a-
the peak of summer when you're eating that tomato and basil with
Yeah.
the
Or
oil.
like lately, what we've been doing because I just harvested a beef. Okay, so I have beef in my freezer right now. That's
I don't need respect.
I'm like,
Trying to do that to Sarah.
Music break.
I did.
You still have her on. That's awesome. It's all.
Oh,
I'm
you
like,
do?
where did that
I was
music?
I thought we were having a dance
Me
break.
too.
I
I
didn't know
thought
what
we
was
were gonna
happening.
get going. But, so I just harvested beef. Back on the thoughts here, guys. Let's run it in. Is nothing better than marinating any kind of steak. So I've even done chuck, where I've marinated it in olive oil, sea salt, fresh herbs, and the
The balsamic.
blackberry balsamic. I'll be honest, I mean, all their balsamics are wonderful, but there's something about the blackberry that you just want to bathe in. So but it's also marinating it in with beef that is just, it's over the top. I usually use like an Arbequina olive oil in why? Because it's got a little bit of that
Grassiness. with the beef.
grassiness and that pepperiness that
Yeah.
it provides, and it comes through in that tenderness of the beef. So and literally all I'm doing is in a stainless steel bowl, putting all this together, putting the beef in the morning, putting tinfoil or wrap over the top and stick it
letting
in the
it break down.
refrigerator, and then we'll grill that. Later on in the evening. So there's dinner right there. So that's simple, quick foods. You can do that with chicken. You can do that with fish, pork. They're pear balsamic. And then you guys all have your lemon infused, basil infused. You want to talk about garlic infused? OMG, it's like heaven on earth. It's the right amount of garlic with the right amount of olive oil. So it's nothing they don't do. Is
Yeah, really. Yeah, we did a
appreciate
big
that,
event all weekend where we cooked for 30 people over 3 days, and we're out on a ranch and we're doing a lot of California native foods. We're doing a grizzly bear dinner.
Oh.
So what does a grizzly eat? So we're using a lot of local foods that way. But we did use a lot of kind of infused olive oils as well for some of the dishes and things. So we had a whole variety of things that we could really put nuances to something. And
Nice.
I really love adding garlic
Did you
and
make
herbs
the
that way.
spruce ice cream?
We made the spruce sip ice cream. It was really good.
Did you? Okay,
We did with the blackberry crumbles. We were talking about blackberries, so something that bears love, people love. Bear was the first teacher, for all the people here of California, and really showed everyone, what was good to eat and where to go and what season.
So right, did you do the recipe where you like steep the spruces in the cream, or what
Yeah,
did you do?
the one of the other chefs made the ice cream, so
Okay.
I didn't get part of that, but it really had a nice infusion
Sprucey?
to it. So I would say they probably did
Super
steep
fun.
it that way. Yeah,
See,
we talked about that.
We talk about all kinds. Like Josh.
I'm getting hungry right now just after the last conversation.
Josh and I, we'll work and get dirty all day long, but we have to eat.
Yeah.
And our eating.
That's the
is
fruit
not-
of our labors, literally.
Yeah. Well, did you see
Exactly.
that? So Miguel's gonna eat well tonight. So we
Yeah.
have meat. I brought him some meat. So this is how we roll, and I'm super excited that you're here. Clotilde
thanks
was
for
supposed to
having
be
us.
here, but she was there
Milling.
in Bakersfield milling olives.
Yes,
so
they are.
that's,
Doing it,
yeah.
there's nothing
There's-
better than that.
It's kind of an honor, and it's exciting. I love the temperatures that we're feeling, because it instantly starts reminding me. It's like, it's this time. For a multi-crop farmer, it's planting and harvesting for me, because California farmer, right? But there's these certain crops that are just near and dear to my heart, and the olive is the top, because like I said, to witness from the very beginning. I'll be honest with you. I was 19 when I met Eve and Clotilde.
Really?
Yeah, when they had their French antique shop in downtown Paso.
yeah.
And why? Because after farmer's market, I would pack up all my stuff and just walk Paso just to kind of decompress, right? And I'll be honest with you, even back then, this is, middle 90s, even back then, I'll be honest with you, the quick story fast. The reason why I opened Nature's Touch was because I was growing food for my own business. It was a nursery, plant nursery, and selling a little bit of heirloom tomatoes. But then the farmer who I was also working for, mind you, I was young, I had bills to pay. I was trying to start a farm. I would go out and rep his produce. So everything that they harvested, I would sell at farmer's market or try to get restaurant connections, right? And it was crazy to me even then, where our crops were beautiful. They were reasonably priced. I mean, I think I'll never forget when we finally hit $1 a pound on heirloom tomatoes, right? Like, okay, so reasonably priced. And so,
Good old days.
I went to a restaurant here locally that actually put an order in.
Oh.
And so went there with our truck and was getting ready to offload his order. And he came out and he told me, stop, that a local distributor, a new distributor, had just opened up. And he met all of his needs and lowered the price of everything. And so I had to pack up all that produce back into the truck. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't want to take it back I didn't want to take it back to the farmer because I also knew the bills that they had. I know that CDFA was just there, you know, and we were fighting for organic at that time. Mind you, this is when organic wasn't cool yet.
Sure.
And so I packed it back up and literally drove a block, my original store. And the guy had just put out the for rent sign. And I called my husband, boyfriend at the time, and said, I might do something you might not agree with, but I think I have this feeling that instead of me going out and chasing it, that if I build it, they will come. And I won't repeat what he said. But at the same time, that is the reason, because we were getting a lot of that. It was, people wanted the convenience of just what, in their mind, cheap food, right? And they didn't want to think about having to support local. If it was just in front of them and they said it was cheap, okay, then that's where it was going. I was at farmers market, and that's what I was getting. I was getting nickel and dime to corporate farms that were there to sell their seconds, thirds, and throwaways. I wasn't there to compete with apples to apples, right? Contract farm that was already paid, this is just their throwaways. Here, I just had harvested it, and then it came out. So when I would walk and I would need to decompress from other people, other businesses, loving on my farmers, but the other businesses that were at farmers market, and I will never, and customers, walked into the, because my mother-in-law and father-in-law and I are all into our antiques, vintage.
Yeah.
Walked in and I met Clotilde and Eves for the first time. And it was like love at first sight. And Eves was being silly, and Clotilde was giving it to me straight, and that what they were gonna do, and literally everything they said that day is exactly what they said it was gonna be. Yes, I know things had changed, but that was their goal. They wanted to be farmers. They believed in the soil that they stood here. They weren't even from here. But they knew where they were standing, and it was like, can we have more of yous?
Yeah.
You know, can we have more people like that? Because it was literally that kind of, and it was, that friendship has never changed.
Yeah.
They tell me what they need to tell me and how they need to tell me. And there's just this amazing respect and amazing love. She helped me raise my children.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, and my kids think even Clotilde walk on water, you know, so it's awesome. And I mean, and how much you guys always check in on my children, and how much you guys have done. And they were just, like I always say, they're just the added bonus. Like that's how I always refer to you guys. And so,
Well, that's such a valuable resource that we always think about too when we talk about, you know, just the resources or farming or something. I mean, a lot of it is the people that are in it and why they're in it, you know, and being able to really lean on each other or lean into each other for things. So, you know, and just
we've all
having that
been
sense
there,
of
right?
place, you know.
oh, we've all been there.
All been there and
Yeah.
had to do it, but that's how Olea, the first time I was there, that's how I felt with even Clotilde, and we, even though yes, we bought the ranch and continue to just keep pushing Olea, but I never really feel like an owner. Honestly, I just feel like I'm a steward of that ranch. It has its own heartbeat, it has its own life. And I'm sure there's a lot of farmers that feel that way.
Yeah.
But I definitely 100% can say that. That's how I feel about Olea Farm. And a lot of people come up to the ranch, they feel that.
Yep.
They feel that energy there.
And honestly, your guys' relationship is a mirror to what I would like to kind of make a template and invite people. Because, yes, I know you guys bought it from them. But the relationship, because nobody can step onto an existing farm and instantly take it on.
No.
I mean, you're still learning things that they have done, and if you didn't have them as a reference to go to or resource to go to, I mean, there's just and so many things, and I can only imagine it's not easy because that was their creation. You're the owner now, but what you guys have created together and made it work for how many years?
Yeah.
Is
9 years
I would
now.
love. I mean, because I'll be honest with you, I told him last week, there's multiple really good friends of mine who are selling right now. And I'm not judging them. I don't blame them for selling their farms because I understand why they are. One of them being, you know, Indonesian company cannot import because of tariffs. So they're here to buy infrastructure and land so that they can manufacture the products for Costco and Walmart so that they don't have to worry about the tariff, right? Why would one of my friends not sell? I mean, workman's comp, employment, you know, insurance, like all this stuff is getting out of hand.
Sure.
You and I both, we
Yeah.
all know this.
Yeah.
It's
Just
out of
pricing
hand.
is
It-
difficult to keep up
It
with.
is.
Regulation is
Regulation,
out of
yeah,
reach.
it is.
And, you know, why wouldn't he? But at the same time, it's really sad because there's so many people in this community that are calling out for this change of wanting community food or local food, or they want this and they want, off the grid, and I'm like, the people that have met the regulation and are doing it exactly the way we want, but they're regulated legally to do this, they're going because there's not enough employment, there's not enough resources, and there's not enough infrastructure. Yes, the opportunity is there because the administration changed tariffs, thank goodness. We got to remember, these countries now have the money because we kind of gave it to them with no tariffs before, and all this cheap food that has been imported for so long, and now these people are coming over and buying our companies here. I have a huge open mind, and even this, I will love and support, and I just want honesty and transparency, but at the same time, if I could take a template from what you guys did and share it with others of how things should be done, I would love to be able to do that. So
Yeah, I think it was unique. It was different. I've taken over other businesses, never had anything like that. And I owe all that to Even Clotilde because without their participation and willingness and openness to do that, it wouldn't have happened.
Yep.
They would have said, okay, yeah, we'll help you a couple months and then we're on our way. And it's like, we still call. Hi, what do you guys do? I got a question.
yeah, what is this? No.
So that is something good to take away if somebody is selling a ranch. I mean, I think Even Clotilde will always be available for us, and we would always be available whenever that time comes, just like you with your business.
Awesome.
Because it's your heart and soul.
It is.
So it's not just a business.
It is.
Yeah, and there's just so much knowledge that you end up soaking into being in
Can't
that
lose
place
it.
that you can't really translate without spending time there yourself. So,
Absolutely.
well, beautiful.
It's
Yeah.
that time, huh?
Yeah,
It's
I
that time.
guess so. We had so much fun.
Oh, we
It's time
did.
for us to. So come and find us on the next couple of weekends here.
Yes.
So November 1st.
November 1st,
At
Alea
Alea
Farm.
Farms.
Have a lot of great snacks. Have our famous French fries, which were Eve's and his cacholi.
And that's sort of all day with time.
That's all day, 10 to 4,
Beautiful.
kind of an open house format. Come and go as you like. You can tour the mill, meet
I'm gonna
Even
get stuff set up,
Clotilde.
and I'm heading there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
So, and then November 15th,
November
small
15th.
press. First come, first serve. Please, if you need help inspecting your fruit, come and see me before. We start 8 o'clock.
8 a.m.
The mill will be ready by 8 o'clock. So, and we will go until the last farmer comes in the parking lot. So,
Wow, that could be like.
well, the last couple of years we were done by 3.
yeah, yeah.
Pepe and I were ready for our feet up and
Yeah.
a cocktail.
Yeah, we might
Can I
have-
say that? I'm like, and then hopefully the sisters are coming this year too.
I hope so,
It's
yeah.
a fun when it's all family.
Yeah.
So,
And
all
that's
right,
a big
guys.
family.
Till then.
Olea Farm.
Yes.
Say aleafarm.com.
AleaFarm.com, and we've got olive oils. We have an online store. We got all of our great California fruit vinegars, local
So much
stuff,
Personal
and
care products.
personal care products, and
Yep.
then we have your small load day on the 15th. So you got to come see the olives, be impressed. It's pretty awesome.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Have a very, very good week.
Yep.
Peace.